Hello, sports fans. King Ikibu coming to you live from the underground bunker. And it's time for another video. Normally, I wouldn't do a video. I've got a sore throat. I'm very busy. King Ikibu has to move again. King Ikibu likes to move every few years to stay away from his enemies. It's not good for a king to be stuck in one place. He has to be on the move so that he cannot be found and cannot be assassinated. So that's what I'm doing in the process of doing. Busy means less videos, etc. Anyway, this one I have to do though because we are in the pennant race. We are the 20th of September 1983 and we have a pennant race going on in the National League East. And at the beginning of this series between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Montreal Expos, we can see here that the Cardinals were 4.5 games back. In real life, they were 5.5 games back, and they were swept by Montreal, and thus they left Montreal 8 games back, and their visions of repeat from 1982 were totally dissipated. They were gone, evaporated in the mist. But the replay 1983 Cardinals are not like the real 1983 Cardinals. These are tenacious. They never go away. So even though they entered the series 4.5 games back at first, they have won the first 2 games and therefore are now only 2.5 games back of Montreal. And if they win this game today, they will only be a game and a half back of Montreal, and it's anybody's division. So we can see what happened in game 1. Neil Allen started for the Cardinals against Bryn Smith, and the Cardinals were down 2-0. They tied it in the 6th, and then they went ahead, and Montreal tried coming back, but they fell short as usual. The star of the game was Darryl Porter, as he hit number 11 on the season. He had 15 in real life, and he had 2 for 3 with a walk, a homer, and 2 RBIs to generate the win for the Cardinals. The winning pitcher was Jeff Keener, and I'm sure he's a household name in your household, but not in mine. But Jeff Keener, he's a real Keener, I guess, and he won the game for the Cardinals. Ralph Citarella got the hold, and Bruce Sutter got his major league leading 48th save. He has been lights out for the Cardinals in this season. 48 saves. That indicates they've won a lot of close games, and it is true because they are third in one-run games, and this gave them their 30th one-run win of the season. So that tells you what these Cardinals, how they win games. They win close games, and a lot of it is because of Bruce Sutter. On the other hand, you have Jeff Reardon, who is one of the leaders in blown saves, and has a high ERA, and he's had a horrible year. So Bryn Smith drops to 6-7. Then in game 2, we have Dave LaPointe, 12-7, 433 versus Ray Burris, 11-7, 317. And once again, the Cardinals win, and they use a catcher to do so. Darryl Porter in game 1, and their backup catcher, Jamie Quirk, was the hero. He led off the top of the 11th with a home run, his second of the year, to give Cardinals the lead that they would never relinquish. And that tells you, yes, it went to 11 innings. So if you look at the extra innings, you see that the Cardinals are... I didn't write down the extra innings in this one, but they are. We can show you elsewhere. I guess I got to change that. Usually I put the extra innings, and you see in extra innings, the Cardinals are number 1 in that. With a 9-4 record, they have the best record in extra innings, and that's what they did here. They won the extra inning game. They got the home run on the top of the 11th. They scored 2 more runs. Montreal got 1 back, but they ended up winning the game 6-4 to pull within 2.5 games back of Montreal. Quirk got his 2nd home run. Gary Carter got his 16th. He had 17 in real life. Tim Wallach got his 15th. He had 19 in real life. The winner is Steve Baker. Goes to 6-3. Cardinals used a lot of pitchers to get this win, however, and the loser is Dan Schatzeder. Went 4 innings, got the loss. Drops to 5-7. Bruce Sutter got his 49th save. So if I remember correctly, nobody had 50 saves until Thigpen in 1990, I believe. He was the first man who got 50 saves. And it looks like Bruce Sutter will get 50 saves before that here in 1983, as he's just got his 49th. So that leads to this huge game today. Bob Forsch versus Bill Gullickson. Relievers available. For those who don't know, whoever appears in the real game is eligible to pitch in the replay. So from game 1, only Jeff Lottie is available. You see, I don't do it. Jeff Lottie he pitched in game 2, but he's available because he pitched in game 1. In game 2, the Cardinals used a mountain load of pitchers, so they had lots of pitchers available, and the Expos used all 3 of their relievers that were available. And then in game 4, they also used a lot. So Cardinals had lots of relievers available in the series. However, they used them all up in game 2 and quite a few in game 1 as well. And so today, for this final game, to get to this place where they need to win every game, they had to use a lot of relievers. Montreal only had 3 relievers. They used 1 in game 1. They used 1 in game 2. They only have 1 reliever available, and that's James. He's available. The 17 means he has 17 innings left in the season. So he has a lot left. There's only 12 games left, so he should be fine. The Cardinals only have, of all those relievers they had available, they only have Citarella left. And Bruce Sutter, of course, available in a closing situation. Reardon, he pitched in game 1. He is only available in a closing situation as well. So Cardinals, they depend on, I don't know, they called Sparky Anderson Captain Hook in the 70s, but really Whitey Herzog was much more of a Captain Hook. He used relievers almost like today. He was ahead of his time, you could say, Whitey Herzog. And that's one reason why the Cardinals win so much. They do so well, because in real life they were below 500 at this point. They were 73-75, and they would go on to lose these 3 games. So they would leave Montreal 73-78. But in this, that's one reason why the Cardinals do so well. They have so many relievers available, and so I can use them. And usually, yeah, a team that has more relievers available has the advantage in the replay system. But in this one, they only have Citarella left. He has 6 innings available also in the season, and James for Montreal. So let's go to the lineups for today's game, this crucial game. We have the leading batting leader in the National League, Lonnie Smith, leading off and playing left field. We got Willie McGee in center field, batting second. Batting third, David Green in right. So they have their outfielders 1, 2, 3 in the lineup today. George Hendrick is playing first base. Batting cleanup, Darryl Porter, the hero game 1, batting fifth. The catcher, batting sixth. He's really hot right now. Oberkfell, he's batting .314 in September, and it seems to be always on base, is batting sixth at third base. Tommy Herr, the second baseman, batting 7th. Ozzie Smith, the shortstop, batting 8th. And Joaquin Andujar. What did I... No. That's... I had to reboot my computer. So that's not the real lineup. The real lineup is totally different than that. This is the game. It puts... Yeah, okay, here's the real lineup. It's quite different, you'll notice. I was wondering, Joaquin Andujar doesn't pitch today. It's Bob Forsch. Yeah, because I didn't load the right game. Here's the real lineup for the Cardinals. And they were way out of it. And that's one thing you'll notice. You go when you use as is lineup. If you got a team in the replay pennant race, okay, you're gonna put your best players in. But the Cardinals in real life were in cruise mode. They were 8 games, or at this point they were 7 games out of first place. They didn't care. Let's use some of our young players. Let's see. So they got this guy Jim Adducci in the lineup today instead of George Hendrick. So that's one disadvantage the Cardinals have, although we do bring George Hendrick in after the 5th inning. We can bring him in. He is eligible to play. Anyway, they got Tommy Hurst seems to be hurt. He hasn't played for a while, so he's not eligible in this series. So they have this kid Jeff Doyle, and he's not too bad. 316 on base, 432 slugging. His defense isn't the greatest, but he is definitely okay. He's not a liability for the Cardinals here in the pennant race. Jeff Doyle leads off, playing second base. Ken Oberkfell, we talked about him being hot. He's playing second, batting second, and playing third base. The third place hitter is Willie McGee in center field. Batting fourth, the catcher, Darryl Porter. Batting fifth, left fielder Andy Van Slyke. He's in his rookie season, and he is doing all right. In September, batting 282. Overall, he's batting 290. The before mentioned Jim Adducci at first base. David Green is not batting third. He's batting seventh and playing right field, although he has been one of the reasons why the Cardinals are doing so well is because of David Green. He is way above his real life totals, batting 329, although he's got 2 homers in September, but in his last 10 games, but he's batting 194 in September. So he's tapering off a little bit. Then the Wizard of Oz, batting 8th, the shortstop, and Bob Forsch, the pitcher. We got the right lineup now. For the Montreal Expos, slumping Montreal Expos. They seem to win, how should I say, if it's in a close game, they have a decent record in close games, but so often they just don't come from behind. They just can't get those hits. If they get up ahead, they tend to win big. That's why they have a run differential of way better than St. Louis. Their run differential is 101 runs versus 36 for the Cardinals, even though they're close, because Montreal, they get ahead, they tend to win big, but if they're behind, they just can't get over the hump. They just can't do it, and so they're slumping again. Here, Tim Raines, he's just doing nothing in September. He's batting 190. He's not getting on base, and that's one reason why Montreal is struggling right now. Manny Trio is batting second, playing second base. Andre Dawson batting third in center field. He is coming into the series. He was the hottest hitter for Montreal. He has 5 homers in September, though he's tapered off. He's still on a hitting streak, but he's not really carrying the team like he has been all season. Al Oliver, the cleanup hitter, batting 4th and playing first base. Gary Carter, he's slumping this year. He's not his usual self. He only has 16 home runs and 59 RBIs. Usually he's up near 100 RBIs by this point. He has played the entire season, but he's just not producing all that much, although he did homer in the losing cause last game. Gary Carter batting 5th and catching. Batting 6th, the right fielder Terry Francona. Batting 7th, the third baseman Tim Wallach. Batting 8th, the shortstop Doug Flynn. Not much of a hitter, okay glove guy. Played with the Mets for years. And batting 9th, the starting pitcher, Bill Gullickson, one of the top starting pitchers in the National League. He's 17-7, 274. One thing, the Expos, if you look at their stats for the league, they are leading everybody in pitching. And that's their strength. They have only given up, where are they? Runs against, 561. The Astros are second with 597. I guess I could sort by this. Go up here this way. Expos first for 561, then Astros, Dodgers, Cardinals, and so on. So that's the strength of this team. They have an excellent starting staff. We can look at that staff. So they have okay batting. They're just kind of middle of the road batting offense, but their pitching was the best. And that's why they are in first place at this point, although that is in jeopardy. They have Steve Rogers in probably his last great season, 16-11, 256. If it wasn't for this one guy, what's his name? Someone from the Cincinnati Reds that just barely has over the minimum, Steve Rogers would be leading the league in ERA. Bryn Smith, he lost first game but he's pretty good. 274. Bill Gullickson, who pitches today. Charlie Lee, 279. So they got 4 of their starters under 3, and the other one, Ray Burris, is barely over 3. So you can see they have a great starting staff. Their bullpen, however, Reardon is supposed to be great, but he has not shown it at all. He's given up a lot of home runs, and he's 4-4, 350 with a 130 whip. So you can see their bullpen is terrible. Although they have decent ratings. I mean, Schatzeder, he has a good ratings, but he's just pitching crap. Bob James, same with him, and Reardon, and that's pretty much the only relievers they use. So that's why they don't have a lot of relievers available. So it's a lot of pressure on those starters, and that will be the case today as well. So let's get this one underway. I just have to remember, that's what I often do. I often forget to get a screenshot of the pitcher for the visiting team when he gets on the mound. So I have to remember to do that. So we're going to have Jeff Doyle. He's batting .313 in 16 plate appearances. So he's not a liability by any means. He's doing pretty well, though I don't know if he plays ever again in his life. Let's see. I'm sure you want to know. Jeff Doyle. Here he is. What kind of career did Jeff Doyle have? Yes, this is the only season he appeared. What happened to this guy? He didn't have a bad debut. 297, 316, 432. You think somebody would have given another chance? Maybe he retired. I don't know. But maybe you know about Jeff Doyle. But, usually when a guy comes up in the late September and he bats 140 and they say, that's enough for you. But this guy had pretty good go of it. But he's never to be seen again. But here he is, Jeff Doyle. Maybe you're a family member of Jeff Doyle. You'll get to see him on YouTube here today. So here's the first pitch to Jeff Doyle. And he grounds out to short, one away. Ken Oberkfell is up next. He's batting .265, on base .340 and .362. He's not as good as real life, but he is definitely heated up in the second half, and he's doing very well. He's a pain in the side, really. He's always on base, it seems like. Here we go to Ken Oberkfell, and he grounds out to second base, 2 away, and Willie McGee batting .274. He just doesn't walk at all, .291 and slugging .357. Just slightly below his real life numbers. 4 homers, 62 RBIs. He gets big hits. And great center fielder as well. 3-2. You can't get better. I guess you possibly could get a 3-3. You don't see too many 3-3s though. And he's very fast. He does it all. He's got he's not a liability in any situation. He is a switch hitter. And I just don't see, I played how many games now? 10,000 games or something? 8,000? I don't know. I have to count and put it in the description, but it's over 8,000 games, and I really don't see any benefit in this game with a switch hitter. That's one bad thing about this game, I would say. Usually switch hitters have some kind of advantage. Anyway, here is the pitch to McGee, and he gets on base, and he has a chance to steal. 111 to 32, he steals. 64, 65, 66, he gets caught. We will try, and he steals second base. So he's in scoring position for Porter. Porter's batting .259 with 11 homers and 60 RBIs. You see, they don't have guys just light out offense, and they don't have great pitching, but they just hang around. They win the close games. Suter gets the save. I mean, that's how they're here. And I guess I've done a better job of managing than Whitey Herzog because we have the same tools. I've got much better result with those tools. Okay, they also just clutch. I mean, this situation, more often than not, they would get the base hit and score the run. But here we go. Andy Van Slyke is on deck. If it was Andy Van Slyke up and Aducci on deck, I'd definitely walk him. But it's Van Slyke, who is just about the same as Porter, so there's no real advantage to walking him. Here is the pitch. And he walks anyway, so that brings up Van Slyke. He's batting .290. In fact, he's doing better than Porter. Better than real life. 6 homers and 40 RBIs. Maybe I should walk him and get to Ducci. Because he is bad. Maybe that's what... Would you walk the bases loaded? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to walk the bases loaded for a Ducci. Very, very... Yes, I want to intentionally walk. Walk the bases loaded. Bring up this guy. He does have like in the last game, he got a walk and he got a base hit and drove in a run. So he's not an automatic out. Although these numbers are bad, but just watch him roll double sixes or something. Here we go, Jim Adducci. And we say, well, why don't you pull him and put in Hendrick? I have to go 5 innings with Adducci, just like a pitcher. You know, that's really gamey if I just pull Adducci now and put in, Whitey Herzog put him in. So I got to live with him. Although I don't mind at all. Here's Adducci. And he flies out, so it pays off. Whew, that was tense there. Anyway, here's Tim Raines. He got off. Let's look at Tim Raines again. Yeah, he's a 3-3. Anyway, it's kind of wasted, though, in left field. So he had a great first half of the season. He struggled in May, but and he's got stolen bases. He got 89 stolen bases in 18, but he's just not getting on base. And he's just struggling in September, and that's as he goes, the Expos go. So you see, oh yes, I have to get that screenshot. When I record, I usually don't forget when I'm just playing alone, but when I'm recording, I usually forget this. So I just put it in here now. So I have that for the blog, not the blog, but the write-ups here on the boards. Anyway, Forsch is 12-7, 396. Although his numbers are horrible, yet, of course, these are the Cardinals, and the bad ratings do not hurt. M is just dreadful to have, because it leads to a lot more home runs against. Anyway, here's Tim Raines. See if he can get on base for a change. He does! Okay, so we're going to try to steal. And, of course, he gets thrown out. So, just bad luck for Tim Raines. He's caught stealing by Darryl Porter, 1 away. Manny Trio over from Cleveland. They really, if they would play Little, Little is available. He's much better than Flynn. I don't know why they're putting Flynn at shortstop. They think, well, Little can't play shortstop, but he can. He's a much better hitter, and he's good on base guy. He can play shortstop, so we definitely will bring in Little at some point for Flynn. Here's Trio, and he has a chance of an error, and he does not. Flies out. And here's Andre Dawson, 35 homers, 111 RBIs, batting .291. So his percentages are pretty near exact they were in real life, though his power numbers and his RBI numbers, I believe, are higher. In real life, what did Andre have? Let's see. Andre had 32, 113. So he's on pace for more RBIs, and he's definitely over on home runs already. So he's probably the main difference, along with the starting pitching, why the Expos are in first place, knock on wood, at this point. But he has nobody on. He should have somebody at the scoring position, but he got thrown out. So here is Dawson, and he strikes out. David Green up for the Cardinals. He's batting .329, .363, .518, way over his real life numbers. He is one of the main catalysts for the Cardinals' success this season. And he grounds out. Ozzie Smith, about the same, a little bit less. 296 versus 321. And but he's a 9 shortstop, which is as good as you can get. I think once in a while, in a blue moon, you might see a 10 shortstop. I personally have not seen one yet, but I'm sure somewhere in history there was one. But Ozzie Smith is as good as it gets at shortstop, and he gets on with an error, and he's not going to roll 65. You can guarantee that. He doesn't get the jump, however. Here's Forsch. He's a good hitter. He's batting .275 with no homers and 6 RBIs. So we'll just treat him as a regular guy. We won't bunt for him. And he has a possible error, and he hits into a double play. Inning over. So after 1.5, no score. Here's Al Oliver. His power numbers are way down. This is his last kick at the can with the Expos. He'll be traded after the season, but he has a lot of RBIs. He's got 100. He takes advantage of Dawson being on base, and although he's below his real life percentages. Al Oliver flies out. Gary Carter is pretty close to his percentages, but his power numbers Well, he just had an off year. And he only has one more year in Montreal, where before he'll trade it. He signed the big contract, and he started to slip production-wise, and so that's why he was traded. And then he goes to the Mets, and of course he leads them to a World Series. And he grounds out to the pitcher and Francona. He was doing, in 1982, he was doing just incredible. He had an incredible card, and then he got hurt and missed the second half of the season. And now he did not do as well in 1983, but he's still batting .285. He's batting better than he did in real life, although he has no homers. And he has a roll again, so he does have a possibility to get his first home run of the year. If he rolls 11, if he rolls 22, 33, 44, or 66. So doubles will be very good right now. Gets 45. 45 is a two-base hit. He has a chance because of Forsch's M to hit a home run, but he has to roll 11 to 24 right now. He does. That's good news. And now he has to roll 11 to 46. This is the M. If it was an N, it would be 11 to 65. If it was an L, it'd be 11 to 36. 36. Is it 30? No, 26. 11 to 26 for an L, 11 to 46 for an M, and 11 to 65 for an N. N is the worst. So let's hope we roll 11 to 46. And of course, we roll a 64. This is the kind of luck the Cardinals have and the Expos do not have. And so instead of a home run with 2 out, Francona has a double. And chances are Wallach, although at this point, probably the horrible batting order, we have to do what we did for Cardinals. We have to put him on and then leave the horrible hitting Doug Flynn up. So we'll put the brakes on Wallach so he doesn't try to go to third on a base hit and get thrown out. And here's the pitch to him, and of course he is out. So instead of a home run, we get nothing because of Cardinal luck. They also don't hit into many double plays. Forsch did because he's a pitcher, but these guys, George Henrik, he wasn't fleet of foot, but every time he rolls a 1-2, doesn't hit into a double play. I mean, I don't know what that is about. Every other team does. So that's another factor here. The guy who made these cards, Mr. Bill Staffa, loves the Cardinals. That's my theory. I'm sticking with it. Anyway, here's Jeff Doyle. He reaches on an error. So Cardinals have something going here in the third inning. Grounds out. No double play, of course. He advances the runner. McGee hits a 1-2, and there's a double play. A rare one for the Cardinals, just to prove me wrong. Bill Staffa logged into my computer and changed the card so that the 1-2 did affect the double play and made me look like an idiot. Anyway, go to the bottom of the third. Bill Gullickson, not as good a hitter as Forsch. Shouldn't be, but he is hitting well. He's got 4 homers this season. 304, 471. So he is way above his real life numbers, and we will take it. And he strikes out there. Tim Raines pops out, and base hit for Trio. Can't steal. He'll get thrown out anyway, so we will hold him. And Dawson has somebody on base. See if he can hit a home run here. Gets a single. Trio to third. And Dawson, we will not try to steal. That'd be bad if he got caught there. And brings up Al Oliver with the RBI situation, something he excels at. So here is Al Oliver. He flew out to right field first time up. Here's the key situation for Expos. Can they come through? And they don't. Fielder's choice. Out at second. Inning over. Go to the fourth. We're still scoreless. Here's Porter. Chance at an error. Doesn't get one. Pop out too short. Andy Van Slyke, who has intentionally walked. The bases loaded. He can tell his grandkids that he was intentionally walked to load the bases. That's not every hitter gets that done. I'd say Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth, but not Andy Van Slyke. But he did here. And he won't be walked here intentionally. He gets a base hit. If that happened last time, that would score at least 2 runs. He doesn't get the jump. Here's a Ducci. Maybe Ducci should bunt. That's what he'll do. A Ducci gets a foul strike. And he gets a sacrifice. It brings up David Green. So we'll walk Green because he's red hot all year long, and to get the Ozzie Smith. And he pops out. So after 3.5, it is 3-1, or 3-1. It's 0-0. There's Gary Carter, bottom of the fourth, strikeout number 3 for Forsch. Francona grounds out. Wallach strikes out, strikeout number 4 for Forsch. So after 4, we're still scoreless. Here is Forsch himself, hit into a double play first time up. First strikeout for Gullickson. Normally he's a good strikeout guy. Not great this year. I remember last year he was very good, but this year, we'll take this though. I mean, we're not complaining about these numbers. Here's Doyle again, grounds out, and Oberkfell grounds out. There's Flynn. He hit into that fielder's choice with first and third last time up. This time has possible error, no error. One away, Gullickson. Gullickson has a chance for an error closer, but no error. Tim Raines on. We're going to steal. Doesn't get the steal, of course. At least he didn't get thrown out. But much better to have a guy at scoring position with 2 out than 1 out. Than on first place, or at first base. Here's Trio. And he hits into a fielder's choice. So we're through 5 innings. Still nothing going on here. And of course, if you know King Ikeby rules, you have to give up a run before you're pulled. Now, however, with these very few relievers available, 1 for the Cardinals, 1 for the Expos, we don't count these only the closer onlys. We wouldn't pull them now anyway. Here's McGee. McGee singled and stole a base and hit into that line-out double play last time up. And he gets on again. Here is a steal second. So this is an excellent opportunity for the Cardinals with nobody out to score a run in. And they have Porter, Van Slyke. And like we said, we'll probably pull a Ducci. And the double, and the Cardinals score. They're up in this crucial game, 1-0. Put the brakes on Porter, as he's a slow runner. So the Cardinals are up. They're going for the sweep. And they will only be a game and a half back of Montreal. Here's Van Slyke. We won't, because Hendrick is in the on-deck circle, so we're not going to walk him. And it is an error. Doesn't advance, though. But still, now it's it for Ducci. Ducci. And George Hendrick comes in. He is eligible. He did play in the first game. Hendrick right there. So he played in the series, so he is eligible for the game. Anytime in the game to come in. That's King Ikeby rules. So, put the brakes on Porter again. They're looking to add to their lead. Still nobody out here in the 6th inning. And the big bat, George Hendrick. 319, 17 homers, and 94 RBIs. He has carried this team all season. And he gets a base hit. Now, it would have been a scoring. That's a chance you take. But so many times with an S, you get thrown out at home. But still, you have bases loaded, nobody out. Don't shed a tear for the Cardinals at all. And then they have David Green up, who has been incredible all year long. And he strikes out. They need more strikeouts. Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith is up. Oh, we would love a double play here, but we're not going to get it. 1 ball. So it was going to be a walk, but because Gullickson has the Z, it takes away the walk and just has 1 ball, no strikes. That's why the Z is very powerful. Instead of walking in a run, we have another chance of getting out of this, although slim. Double play, just what we needed. And so there's the Z really paid off there, but they still get the go-ahead run. Forsch is now tired. He is now D and M. But see, look, the DM hasn't hurt him at all in this game. He had that one chance, but we rolled a 64 on the Forsch's roll, and he only allowed a double instead of a homer. So, but he has to stay in there until he gives up a run. That's what made that double play so huge, because if we get that run, it ties the game. Here's Dawson. Dawson flies out. Oliver grounds out, and Carter gets on with a base hit. but he's an S, so we'll put on the brakes. He can try to score on the double, but not on a single go to third. It's just a waste of an out. He'll just get thrown out, chances are, with that S. Here's Terry Francona. There's Tony Francona and Terry Francona. But this is Terry. He is now regarded, I've heard it said, the best manager in baseball. I don't disagree. Here we go, Terry Francona. Let's see if he can get the clutch hit here. He had that last time. The double would be nice, actually. And he gets a single. So in this one case, Carter would have went to third. And on this signal, a F. If he was an F, he would have scored from first. A la Country, what's his name? Slaughter. He scored from first base in the World Series and won the World Series, 1946. But in this case, he's an S. He wouldn't have scored. Okay, here's Wallach. Wallach was intentionally walked and struck out. He's got 15 homers, 60 RBIs. A home run here would be mighty, mighty sweet. If he rolls a 66, he'll get a homer automatically. If he rolls an 11 and what else? 33. There's not a lot of extra base hits on his card here. But he would get a chance of a homer. Here's the roll. Double twos. Double two is a 7. Oh, but look. Runner on second, out at home. Holy cow, Gary Carter. Learn to run. He gets thrown out at home, and it's still 1-0. Wallach came up with the clutch hit, but you should, and you could. And if it was anybody else, you would think about bringing a pinch runner. But you got Gary Carter with his catcher rating 9. You just want Gary Carter in the game. Anyway, game continues, and Forsch and the Cardinals got horseshoes up their butts again, once again. And this is what happened all series long. They get the key hit. Montreal chokes in the clutch. That's just the way it goes. Skeeter Soft loves the Cardinals. Here we go. They were just dominant in 1981 in this thing. They won the World Series, real World Series in 1982, and they didn't do well. They did very poorly, but they are regarded. That 82 team was regarded as one of the worst World Series champions in history. I've read that. It's not my own opinion, and it showed in this game. But this here in 1983 is just ridiculous. How lucky they are. Anyway, top of the 7th, still 1-0 Cardinals. Forsch has to bat. He's still a good hitter, but he grounds out. Doyle pops out, and Oberkfell flies out. Still 1-0. Okay, so we're going to bring in Little. We are going to bring in Little at this point. He's a much better on-base man. He is eligible because he did play in the first game. Little, see? I don't lie to you. You can trust me. So Little will come in. He is much better. He is on base of 352. Normally he's in the second spot. But ever since they traded for Trio, they thought, well, let's put Trio in the second spot and let's put Little on the bench, which was really hurt us. So Little, he's all same shortstop rating as 7, so we don't get hurt there. But he's much better on base man. Though he's in replay, he's not. He's 352 in real life and 325 in the replay. Still better than Flynn. And doesn't get on. Unless he gets an error. Of course, we're not. Gullickson. He's still going strong. We only got one reliever, so we'll leave him in the game. He has hit 4 home runs in the season. Doesn't get one here. And Reigns. Let's see if he can get thrown out again. No, he gets a stolen base. Number 90, finally. And Manny Trio, can he drive him in? In this case, he's an F, so he won't get thrown out. Chances are if it's a base hit, he's going to score because he's an F. Anyway, here is Trio. We need a hit. We need a hit. Here is... He's got this horrible rating and still not hurting him at all. And 1-2. So that would have been a double play if there was less than 2 out. But there's 2 out, so he just gets a line drive out. Go to the top of the 8th. Still 1-0 Cardinals. And here's McGee. McGee has singled and stolen a base, hit into a double play, and singled and stole second and scored. The only run of the game so far. And he walks. And he doesn't steal this time. So he's on second, though, with his mighty F. Brings up Porter. The Cardinals desperately want an insurance run. Get a wild pitch. Are you starting to believe me when I say the Cardinals have everything going their way all the time? Here's Porter. Flies out, runner to third. So they got a runner at third base. 1 out. We're going to bring the infield in. We can't afford to have this run score. Here is Andy Van Slyke. He's been intentionally walked. He's singled and he reached on error. So he's been on all 3 times, although he's just 1 for 2 on the box score. But here's the key point of this game. Gullickson, you got to come up with something deep from within. He gives up a sacrifice fly, and he takes the hit away, but still is deep enough for the run to score, and it's 2-0 Cardinals. That run is huge, because even if Forsch, who's got no ratings at all, detrimental ratings, gives up his run, then they can just bring in Suter, and there it is, game over. Okay, here's Hendrick with the bases empty, and he lines out. So, it's now 2-0 Cardinals. They can taste being only a game and a half back of first place. And we will have the vice pressure on Montreal. Vice grip. They had a 4.5 game lead and is going to go down to 1.5 with 11 games to play. And still 3 games left with St. Louis. In St. Louis later this month. Here's Dawson. You got to get things going. Gets a base hit. We need 2 runs. He'll get thrown out. We just have that bad luck. Although he'll be hitting into a double play. So we'll try it. He gets a stolen base. Dawson steals. How many steals is that for Dawson now? This season. He has 35. That's steal number 35 for the Hawk. Back when his knees weren't too bad. Can you imagine how much speed he would have had if he didn't get hurt? Like, he got hurt in high school playing football. That's when his first knee injury. Just imagine how fast this guy would have been if he didn't have those knee injuries all those years. Okay, here's Oliver. Come on, Oliver. He's done nothing. He's 0 for 3. And he's stuck on that 100 RBIs. And he doesn't do anything here. Oh, just barely. Almost had an error, but of course, nope. Had to tease us with the 13. Here's Carter. We left you in for this situation so that you can drive in a run or 2. And of course, he flies out. Runner to third with 2 out. Francona. He's the only guy hitting. He got the base hit. Nobody thrown out at home that time. However, now Forsch is eligible to be relieved. And Mr. I know you've never heard of him, Citarella. Let's see what Citarella. He's another one of these guys that just Ralph. You don't see too many baseball players named Ralph. So this is not his only season. He was amazing. 1.64 ERA in 1983. Yeah, so chances are Montreal is not going to win this game. But he did not play. Oh, he did play again, and so they did bring him back in 84, and he was okay. They only gave him 22 innings. And then they gave up on him altogether. He went to White Sox for 1 more season and was terrible. So that is the history of Ralph Citarella. But he's coming in here with an amazing. So we're not going to do double switch. We could do a double switch here for Van Slyke. Although he got Suter. But it's a pity to bring in somebody. I guess, yeah, this Suter will come in anyway. Ralph Citarella, 14.2 ZI. Man, that's a good ratings. If you know anything about this, that's an amazing rating. And it shows here. 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and a 0 ERA with a 118 batting average against. Yep. Montreal's hopes of a comeback are greatly diminished by the presence of Ralph Citarella. Anyway, here's Tim Wallach trying. See, this eye. This is the opposite of an N. It's almost impossible to hit a home run against a guy with an I. So, a pitcher with an I. Anyway, here's Wallach. He is walked, intentionally, struck out, and singled. And he needs something here. That's not it. He is done. Okay, so Gullickson is now tired. So we will bring in James. He's the only guy hitting for Montreal, so it's a pity taking him out. But we will bring in somebody. And it'd be nice to bring in Cromartie, but he's not eligible. He did not appear in this series for some reason. They just didn't. He's by far the best option in right field, and they didn't play him much. He had a lot of pinch hit appearances, but they just didn't start him. I don't know why. He's also great defensively. So, and then he leaves Montreal after this season for Japan. He's always like Cromartie, but for some reason I'm not playing him. So he's not eligible. Crowley's eligible, but he's horrible and he doesn't play outfield. Stenhouse, he's horrible defensively and horrible with the bat, so we won't bring him. Jerry White, he's got good on base, can't hit anything slugging wise, but he's probably the best option. He is eligible, so we will bring him in to not change position. Bring in White to play right field, and then we will bring in Mr. James. It's tough to go to the Montreal bullpen, but I'll show you. Like he's terrible. 4.14 ERA. He strikes out a lot of guys, but he obviously he's given up lots of runs, but his rating is just as good as Citarella, 14.2, although he has that W. But he does his triple X, which means he strikes out a lot. That's reflected here. And he has the A. He just doesn't have that I. But even in spite of this great rating, he gives up a lot of runs. But here we got to give up any more runs. It's going to be hard enough facing Bruce Sutter. So we can't give up any more runs. Here's David Green. He is intentionally walked and 0 for 2. And he strikes out. Ozzie Smith, he's reached on an error, hit into a double play, and lined out to short. And he walks. He will try to steal. Barely doesn't steal. One of the few rolls that's gone against the Cardinals today. And here's Citarelli, can't hit at all, so we're going to bring in a pinch hitter. And we can bring in Quirk, Rayford, Sexton, Sanchez, Braun. So, who's this Sexton? I never heard of him. He is horrible. Sanchez, horrible. Rayford, he's average. Quirk was a hero yesterday. And, of course, Braun is incredible. So, we'll bring in Braun. We'll bypass all these horrible guys and bring in Braun. He is 419 on base, 415 slugging, just like real life. Here's James. He went down to a B already. And he strikes out. So that brings up Doyle. Doyle is 0 for 4. He did reach on an error. One of the 3 Expo errors. But both runs were earned, so the errors did not come back to bite Montreal. Here's Doyle. Strikes out. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. And we will bring in, going for his 50th save of the season, Bruce Sutter. 2.46 ERA. He has 72 strikeouts in 80 innings, only 16 walks, and a 2.47 opposing batting average. Going for, like I said, save number 50. He will face Little, White, and Raines. All 3 are good on base men. Click that to get it away. Here's Little. Little was brought into the game and he flied to left first time up. And he gets a strike. If he had a W, he'd be on. You can see how horrible W's are for a pitcher. But he just has a strike. Gets another roll. And it's going to be an error. Nope. So fly out. One away. 2 outs remaining. Here's White. He was just brought in to the double switch. He has a .448 on base percentage, which is why he's in there. And he has a double 2, but Suter took it away and he just pops out. So that was a kick in the pants. Here's Tim Raines with 2 out. He's had a decent day today, just because I said he was doing terrible. He's 3 for 4. He has been caught stealing and has a stolen base and has not scored. And he runs. So he has to get on base for Montreal to have any hope of coming back. And he doesn't. So the game is over. The game is over. We'll save this so we can show you the up-to-date standings. Just go home, 0920. And of course my numbers lock is not on. So we'll try this again, 0920. And the Cardinals scored 2 runs. Another 1-run win for the Cardinals. Game over. Ralph Citarella with the hold. Bruce Suter with the save. Number 50. There it is. Do you want to include this game as part of your replay? No, I don't. But I have to anyway. We all have to do things we don't want to do in life. And that is it. So the up-to-date standings. The Cardinals, who entered Montreal 4.5 games back. In real life, they were swept and left 8 games back. In the replay, they're now only a game and a half back of Montreal. Looking at the as-played schedule, going to the team for the Cardinals. The Cardinals have 12 games left. 3 left with Montreal. They play the Mets. Oh, no, this one's over, so it's 11. That's the game we just played. So they have 11 games left. 2 with the Mets, 3 with the Phillies, 3 with the Expos, and 3 with the Cubs. Montreal probably has very similar. I think they're done with the Cubs, though. So they have 2 with the Phillies, 3 with the Pirates, 3 with the Cardinals, and 3 with the Mets. So, yes, things just got a whole lot tighter in the National League East. And looking at the player of the game, who should we give it to? Willie McGee was amazing, as he has been lately. 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored and a walk, 2 stolen bases. Or we could give it to Forsch. He gave up 11 hits, but he only gave up 1 run, walked 1. Or we could give it to Suter for his 50th save. The big hit in this game came in the 6th inning. And it was Hendrick. Let's see, bases loaded. Who drove in the run here? Oh, Porter drove in the run here. And McGee, but McGee scored both of the runs. And then in the 8th inning, their hit was on a sacrifice fly by Van Slyke. So I think we'll probably give it to... Could be either one. I mean... Who do you think should be the MVP? McGee or Forsch? They both were very prominent in this win here today. So we'll just leave it up to you. Anyway, that is it. The Cardinals are coming back on a mighty comeback. Montreal is choking. Let's see if they can regain their composure and just forget about this series and move on. They've lost 4 in a row now. And yeah, things just got a lot tighter. Anyway, this is King Ikeboo signing off. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.